All right, ladies and gentlemen, I promised you this is going to be worth the wait. In fact, it's so big that even though I'm under the weather, I would have did this on my deathbed because we are returning here with Colliery Championship Wrestling. Another sold-out big show ahead, Colliery of Souls, and we've got 3 participants in it. That might be one of the biggest matches in all of professional wrestling, and it's an international match. And I'm going to get to that here very quickly because we have here with us, as always, Mr. Sportswire, the lawman, Kyle Kennedy himself, just recently a world champion. We have all the way from my neck of the woods, the United States of America in New York, the Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor. And of course, we have the reigning, defending CCW Underground Heavyweight Champion, Jack Bartley. So, without further ado here on the Sportswire Board, the number 1 global Sportswire pro wrestling star is here. The Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor, and Mr. Sportswire, the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, and the reigning, defending CCW Underground Heavyweight Champion, Jack Bartley. Fellas, good afternoon and good evening.
Do you need medical assistance?
I'll let you know.
Well, let me tell you this before we even start, Tony Brice, that I never, ever trust anyone with 2 first names.
Well, you've got 4. I look here. Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor. But hey, who's counting, right? So let's cut to the chase here. Let me go with you first, because obviously you're coming here for CCW for the first time. Coming up here, Colliery of Souls, another sold-out show here. Go to Colliery Championship Wrestling for sure here for more information on Friday's show, or, of course, you can find out information, all the card and the great stars that we've had here in the past in Sportswire Radio. And you called out the United Kingdom, the people of Great Britain. Now, I'm going to let you speak because I'm an American, but I talk to these guys each and every week on Sportswire Radio. So I'm going to give you the floor. And why are you here in CCW? And what's your issues with those overseas here, which you're about to be in coming up this Friday?
Well, first of all, it's unfortunate that you must speak with those peasants every week. Second of all, I'm still waiting you to thank me for being here because it is indeed your pleasure. Thirdly, I do not need to discuss what makes Great Britain, England, the UK, whatever you want to call it, a disgusting country. What I'm here to talk about is Jack Bartley. And apparently also Kyle Kennedy, because when I agreed to come to Colliery Championship Wrestling, I never heard the name Kyle Kennedy. I only heard Jack Bartley, and that truly is the only reason I'm coming, because I don't go anywhere unless there's gold involved. Now, if Kyle Kennedy wants to get in my way, I have no problem running him over as well. My only advice to you two is if you're going to take a shot at the king, you better not miss. Lawman, you know better than anyone that privilege and wealth are above the law. And no one has more privilege and wealth than the Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor. Now, Jack Bartley, notwithstanding the most ridiculous hat I've ever seen in my life, you've never crossed the path of the Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor before. And after you're done, you'll wish that you'd been on a car ride with Dodie Fayed.
Wow. Okay, ladies and gentlemen here, what an entrance from the Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor. And Mr. Sportswire, the lawman Kyle Kennedy, certainly I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say. I'll get to the champion next, but certainly some different things. You've been a very busy man as always. You are once again, as usual, in the crossfire. And what is your responses to what the Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor, has said about you and everything else, and maybe the people of the United Kingdom?
That's fine that you state you've never heard of me, because quite frankly, the feeling is mutual, Your Highness. I've never heard of you either, Sunshine. But listen, I told him, no, I'm not going to speak to you, Tom. I'll speak to you, actually. Mitch, I told you not to come, but it seems your flights have already been booked, and that's okay, because like I said, I'll put Jack Boy down, and I'll put you down too. All I got to say, short and sweet.
Oh, wow.
Just
Okay.
like
All
this
right. I
match
was
will
waiting
be.
for a whole bunch of things here. So let me get to a bunch of comments before I get to the champion, Jack Bartley. For the first time, he's here with us since he won that championship. So we'll get to that in a second. Amy Sprode says, good evening. Special hello to the champ from Elf Queen. Donnie Franchise, by the way, who something tells me he's going to be back on Sportswire another time, says, good evening, Tom. And he says, Kennedy, hope you're living high on your freight train right now. Trust me, you're going to pay your dues sooner rather than later. If it's up to me, I know that they're another company. There's some stuff. We'll get to that for sure at another time. Uncle Ralph is always with us here. Empty vessels make the most noise. Pathetic gobshites like this give Americans a bad name. And I just want to say, I do not endorse some of the words that the Tyrant King has said about the United Kingdom or the people of Great Britain in England, anywhere else. I just want to put that out there on the record. Good evening, everyone. Obviously, Andrew's always with us. And Michael De Niro Knowles, who was at the last Nonstop Action Wrestling show, says, not to be that person, but as a Brit, Americans always think that they are better than us Brits, yet he acts like royalty. Isn't that a British thing? Well, those are some interesting things. But let me get to you, Jack Bartley. It's been a while. It's been a hot skip in a minute. And you've had a lot addressed toward. You've had Mr. Sportswire say some things. You've also had Tyrant King here for the first time. So I'm giving you the floor now. You're the champ. It's your house Friday night. It's your title on the line. And talk to me about your thoughts on what you've heard so far and anything else you'd like to say.
Yes, absolutely. It has been a while. It was, my goodness, it was before I won the belt from Chris Onyx, I believe, was the last time we spoke in person.
We had just you, I think, like 48 hours before then, correct?
Yes. So I defeated Chris Onyx, and him and the Might of Top Tier couldn't put me down. I then, in my first defense, defeated the demon Beelzebub, who was fresh summoned from hell. He couldn't put me down, despite wrecking my ankle. And then I defeated Bat Pigeon in my most recent defense. So yeah, I'm used to fighting against the odds, so to speak. Now,
but even some of these comments that you've heard, I mean, you got to make you feel one way or the other, no?
Well, I'm used to Americans not knowing much about what they're talking about. It's the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So England is part of it, as is Scotland, where I'm based primarily. And yes, Northern Ireland makes up the United Kingdom along with Great Britain. So there you go. There's your lesson for today, sir.
I appreciate it. I hope I've not offended too many people that are watching and listening to this, but let me get to a few comments because it's not about me before I get to the Tyrant King. Shelby Sinar, who's here with us, obviously from UKW, says, evening. Let me give a big shout out to the new GT Ministries World Champion, who might be an excellent fit for one of you guys to be in the ring with. Says, good evening, Jets. GTM World Heavyweight Champion here. Listening in closely. I might take a trip to CCW soon. James Barris, wherever you are, might want to tune in there. Supersonic Sammy Blue, who issued a statement of his own on Instagram earlier, says, as long as Kennedy takes the pin, that's all that matters. Donnie Franchise, Sammy Blue with such words. Okay, Tyrant King, let me get to you, because obviously you've heard some of the things on some of the responses, but why CCW? Do you want the underground title? I mean, you've won a lot of championships. You've had a lot of success. I'm going to be objective here on some of the things. You messed my name up. You said different things, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're here with us in that case. Why are you here particularly for CCW, and what would that title mean to you that Jack Bartley has on his shoulders?
Listen, Terry Brice, I'm coming to CCW, as I said, for one reason and one reason alone, and that is gold. What better place, I ask you, is there to start than CCW? Whether you want to call it England, Great Britain, it doesn't matter where it is. It's over there with the Limeys, and that gold is coming home to the USA. Now,
but aren't you concerned,
I don't know what everyone's problem with you is out there in internet land, but if you're putting yourself into this match, You may not be the stupidest man alive, but you better hope he doesn't die. And Jack Bartley, I only have one question. If you get a divorce, will she still be your sister?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that. I'll come back to Mr. Bartley. But Tyrant King, aren't you concerned to the fact, though, that you don't know your opponents? You know, in these other companies you've wrestled in, you know your participants. You've wrestled them. You've gone toe-to-toe with them. You have a scouting report. But you don't know what Jack Bartley is made of. You don't know Mr. Sportswire Kyle Kennedy. I mean, he's made a name for himself here in a place you have no experience about. Aren't you concerned about going into a venue that, I mean, if you don't do what you say, I don't think you're going to make it back to the United States of America. You might be in a potter's field somewhere in Scotland or England, wherever you may be. I mean, so what do you say to that?
The thing is, Tim Brice, that you don't get to be royalty by being unprepared. You may not know whether or not I have connections all across the world and whether I've gotten tapes and studied them endlessly, but I know. So
okay.
If you're foolish enough to think that I'm entering this unprepared, you're in for a big, big surprise. A bigger surprise than when the cops kicked in your door looking for the meth lab last Sunday night. I know about that too.
Well, we'll certainly see what happens. Mr. Sportswire, Kyle Kennedy, I mean, I asked the question here, and I asked this Tyrant King here, who certainly, I'm sure he'll be just as popular as maybe Boris Johnson or Donald Trump would be these days in England or anywhere else in the world. But, I mean, I kind of actually think that the Tyrant King is the one who doesn't know what he's expecting or coming for, because he hasn't seen what you've done, which we've seen over the past 4 or 5 months. And I say the same for Jack Bartley, but I give you the floor. And what I saw from you this past weekend and what you did even to the likes of a Donnie franchise, I mean, I'm sure now you got to have some extra motivation, because I don't think the Tyrant King knows a lawman from head to toe like I do.
Absolutely correct, Mr. Brice. I'm just waiting for the tea and crumpets and yellow and crooked teeth jokes from Mr. America over here. I'm waiting for that, because all these typical pot shopping jibes, it's just typical of someone as ignorant and dopey as you, my man. But listen, you have no idea what world you're stepping into. You don't get it wrong. I am essentially, as you would call it, the rookie in this situation. I've only been at this game for a year and a half, but I've made more noise and moved more ground in the past year and a half than either of you have combined. So the fact that you're coming over from the States when I told you not to, which is just pure stupidity on your part, and the fact that you answered the challenge, champ, again, stupid on your part, neither of you have no idea what you're in for. You can dress up in your ugly little costume, King, and, well, same goes for you, Bartley. But again, neither of you have any idea what you're in for. Brice just said it himself. I've been dominating. I did something no one has managed to do this past weekend. I whooped Tommy Dillon into oblivion, and unfortunately it was ripped away from me, but that's fine. But I'm just like all of you. I'm a world champion too, but unfortunately for both of you, well, you're no longer a champion, and you, this coming 29th, will no longer be a champion either. I dominated this past Saturday, and I will dominate on the 29th. Whether that's ripping that ugly crown and burning that disgusting robe, or just getting rid of that horrible whateverness of whatever that is on your head. You know, and you can do your weird little Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson laugh, and you can pretend you're all holy under thou and what have you. But neither of you have no idea what kind of man I am. You can say you're a king, and you can pretend you're a champion. But I am Mr. Justice, and I am the most dominant son of a you've ever seen. And I'm on a mission to take every bit of gold in every single company I go to.
Ladies
and I will
and
do
gentlemen,
just that. I'm not done, Tom. And I will do just that at Colliery of Souls. Whether I pin you or pin you, it doesn't matter. The outcome remains. The lawman, Kyle Kennedy, your new CCW Underground Heavyweight Champion.
well, ladies and gentlemen, the lawman Kyle Kennedy certainly said a mouthful there. And these are reasons why you need to follow Colliery Championship Wrestling. If you haven't yet on Facebook, please do so at Colliery Championship Wrestling. Over 4,000 members strong, and that's why Colliery Championship Wrestling has always been one of our favorite companies. And certainly Saturday, Colliery of Souls, another sellout. Very, very excited to be talking CCW. Once again, we'll have more CCW coverage now for more often. And I really, really want to thank James Barris again for the opportunity. And we are here with the Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor, making his debut in CCW, as well as the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, Mr. Sportswire himself. And Jack Bartley, I heard a lot from these two individuals, and I almost have to think, though, that you've got some extra motivation to kind of want to defend the home turf. And I think on top of that, as I asked the same question to the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, I think the Tyrant King doesn't know what you bring to the table. We've gotten a chance to cover it in the past, and you've run down some of your big wins and obviously holding that title now for the past few months. And do you feel like, in a way, also maybe to quote a British band, that maybe the Tyrant King may have another thing coming here and maybe wrestling you in the ring?
Well, first and foremost, he referenced good old George Washington's boys. Now, that was on his home turf. You're entering my home turf. It's a completely different set of circumstances. And secondly, I've referenced before when speaking to you, the 12th man. Now, the 12th man, I'm making a football reference. Now, football as in the game that's played with your feet. Not the one over there where you pick it up and run around with it in your hands and still call it football. But yes, absolutely. Now, there are times even I don't know how deep and how dark I will go. Now, Colliery of Souls has specific reference for me because exactly a year ago at Colliery of Souls, the first ever Colliery of Souls, I won the Lost Souls to Cole over the top rope battle royale, was awarded the Miner's Lamp for a chance to win this very championship, only to have it snatched from me and given to Dustin Hart instead through a mathematical inexactitude. So, lawman, I understand how it feels to win and have that win ripped away from you. That motivated me from that day onward. I have continued my motivation, continued my rise. And now I sit at the top of the mountain. Now, I'm the kind of champion that when I see a challenge, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. I know, lawman, you are magnificent. You are a force to be reckoned with. I am probably the most resilient man you'll come across. You can hit me with whatever, and I will keep coming at you. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's a bit about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And people keep being so unkind to poor Boris. I'm quite fond of the mop-headed fellow.
Let me ask you a follow-up question before I come back to the Tyrant King and Mr. Sportswire, Kyle Kennedy. Let me ask you this question, and I don't know if you've prepared to answer it this way or not, but is this the biggest match or the biggest title defense so far of your run as champion?
Absolutely, yes. As I said, my first one was due to be a title defense against Chris Onyx in a rematch. I don't know, someone disposed of him, and I had to face a demon who was raised fresh from hell. That was a challenge enough. And as I said, my second defense was against Bat Pigeon, one of the most popular individuals in CCW. However, these two individuals, the minute I saw the challenge, I thought, this is tasty. This is one I must be a part of. And when these two individuals, again, when it comes up, Jack Bartley retains against These are names that will make the world of championship wrestling sit up and pay attention. Now I understand the Tyrant King. He's on a quest for gold. Where better to come than a mining promotion to dig for gold? You come, you look for your gold, you shall have none of mine. For as the American troops were told, do not gamble with the British, do not fight with the British, and do not bet against the British.
Well, let me get to a bunch of comments here before I bring in the rest of the guys. Supersonic Sammy Blue says Terry Brice presents Athletes Radio. I guess. Talk is cheap from a fake royal. Slightly hilarious that Tyrant King looks like a cat calling British builder. Yeah, okay. Must not do that much research calling. Okay, Richard Knights, who Kyle Kennedy knows very well. What kind of false royalty thinks they can step to the lawman himself? Royalty is not above the law. Privilege breeds weakness. To give you a brief history, Tom, if our recent prime minister had an I Quit match, she'd lose. Yeah, well, she's already out. Callum Jakester, by the way, who's going to be back with us Wednesday, 6 o'clock British Standard Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And the newest member of the society, who Mr. Sportswire has gotten to know quite well over the past few weeks, says, Lawman going to make it look like a crime scene. Colin McGregor, of course, who's going to be on the call at Colliery of Souls, says, looking forward to calling the action on Sunday. Jamie Mack, evening, gentlemen. BMD, hi, it's Mitchell. You've got your hands full this weekend, lad. We've also got you too, Sean. Hope he gets his mouth full, BMD, with good British fist. Justice for Jack. Caleb Squire, could you please request for me to join this? I think you're going to have to wait another time. Sorry about that. These two gentlemen don't know what they're getting themselves into coming into CCW and challenging Jack Bartley. Tyrant King, let me ask you this question. Let's say, hypothetically, you win this championship. I'm assuming that you'll never bring this title back again, and this will be something that we'll never see in CCW's lore again. And tell me your thoughts on that.
My thoughts on the CCW championship and its fate after I win it this coming Saturday. That's what you're asking me. You know, the thing about the Tyrant King is that he goes where he wants and he does what he wants. So do the peasants of CCW deserve to see that title again? Probably not. But maybe do I want to come and ruin their lives one more time? Highly likely. Tyler Brice.
Okay, well, certainly that was pretty much the answer what I expected. But for you, let me ask you this question, Mr. Sports.
I've got some things to refute here, Mr., and I use that term very loosely, Brice.
Well, you might want to speak for yourself.
I would recommend that you don't worry about jokes and that you don't worry about tea and crumpets and yellow teeth and worry about eating through a straw and no teeth. Because if you get in front of the Tyrant King, that's going to be the outcome.
Well,
now
Halloween came early to Sportswire. That's what I'm going to say. Halloween came early to Sportswire. So trick or treat to you too, Tyrant King. But Mr. Sportswire, let me ask you this question because I got the Tyrant King's perspective. I got his point of view on what I thought he would give us the answer. But I know you just held a world title this past weekend, but I would have to think, though, that CCW Colliery Championship Wrestling to win this underground heavyweight championship in one of the main event matches here, Colliery of Souls, would have to undoubtedly be the biggest win of a already short and successful career, Mr. Sportswire. Give me your thoughts on that.
You'd absolutely be correct. And this time, I won't give anyone the chance to rip it away from me unjustly. Now, just Tyrant King, you say I shouldn't worry about tea and crumpet and all these sorts of jokes and that you're going to bash me face in with a cute little gold chain you've got there. Trust me, sunshine, I can take a punch. And I'm going to keep getting back up. And when I get back up, I'm going to choke you with that ugly-ass robe until you turn purple, just like the color of that robe. You give me threats like that, kid. Trust me, you're going to want to keep me down. You don't want me to get back up. And neither do you, Jack. So you can keep talking and doing your whole holier than thou, tyrant king. I tyrannize where I come and I take and I never give back. That's fine. But you're not going to get the opportunity. You're just not. It's simple as that. You're going to come, you're going to attempt to conquer, and then you're not going to go back in a plane. Nah, you're going to go back in a pine box when I'm done with you. And you, Jack, I'm going to send you back to jolly old Scotland in a pine box too. And I'm taking the CCW Underground Heavyweight Championship. Not just to take it from these peasants. Nah, I'm taking it for myself and myself alone. I don't need to take it away from people because I don't want them to have it. Nah, I'm taking it because I deserve it. I deserve it. You don't, Mitch. And the fact that you're still holding that, Jack, after fighting the people that you have, is an embarrassment. And you're damn right. This is the biggest matchup of not only your title defenses, but of your career, my man.
Well, we'll certainly find out here. And again, if you like Colliery Championship Wrestling, please continue to give them a like on Facebook at Colliery Championship Wrestling. Also, Facebook at Sportzwire Radio, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. My name is the Reverend Tom Brice, and we are here with the CCW Underground Heavyweight Champion Jack Bartley, who is defending his championship this coming Saturday at Colliery of Souls against American Tyrant King Mitch Taylor, and also the lawman Kyle Kennedy, Mr. Sportswire, who had just held the Nonstop Action Wrestling World Class title, and he had held that over the wild card Tommy Dillon. So obviously we have here 3 world champions in some capacity. It does not get any better than this here on Sportswire Radio. So Jack Bartley, I'm going to give you the floor before I come back to these guys, and I want to go in a different route. So Jack Bartley, is there anything that you want to ask either of your opponents before Saturday night?
Now, as I mentioned previously in the short video vignette that I published, I'm no fool. I may dress like one, I may talk like one, I may even act like one, but I'm no fool. I'm not going into this to be blindsided. I am going in knowing exactly what I'm doing. I have my strategy, I always do, and that's why I am still the World Underground Heavyweight Champion. Now, gentlemen, I am well aware of the size difference. I'm well aware of your strengths. You're not aware of my strengths. So all I have to ask to you, gentlemen, is, are you ready to blow the roof off of Dodden Youth and Community Centre on Saturday the 29th of October? Are you ready for the noise that the CCW fans will deafen you with? And above all, are you ready for Jack Bartley and the Chuckle Crew? Because, gentlemen, this will be one not to forget.
And Uncle Ralph here from Top Tier and CCW says, if brains were dominoes, the Yank would be knocking every hand. Justice for Jack. I'm sorry for the way he's talking to you, Jack. He's not himself when he's hungry. And all hail the king from my very good friend, Mr. Anthony J. Finkel. So, Tyrant King, I'm going to give you the floor now. And is there anything you want to say directly to your opponents, whether it's Mr. Sportswire, the lawman Kyle Kennedy, or the world champion here of CCW, the underground champion, Jack Bartley?
Trent Brice, the Tyrant King, always has something to say. Now, I've heard a lot of talk here about opportunities and losing and being cheated. The Tyrant King doesn't worry about any of those things because the Tyrant King comes and takes exactly what he wants when he wants it. As far as being educated about my opponents and blah, 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 Jack Bartley, I've noticed that you don't have a lot to say, that you're sitting there quietly and listening to me and the lawman go at it. And I suspect that that's exactly going to be your strategy for Saturday night. And if you think I haven't noticed, you would be incorrect once again, my friend. because you will not lay back while the lawman and I beat each other for you to only jump in at the end and pull out a win. No, sir. I've been around a lot longer than to fall for something like that. Kyle Kennedy, I'm looking forward to meeting you Saturday. I truly am, and I can't wait to see you try and apply the rule of law to a king. Now, Mr. Brice, seeing as this is costing you about $5,000 a minute, you might want to wrap this up soon, but I will advocate for you very quickly. Ladies, if you're looking for a bad boy, Tom Brice is your guy because he's bad at everything.
Check's in the mail there, Mr. Tyrant King. I'll certainly be sure to send it to you after some of those comments, for sure. But I got your side of the story, and I'm going to give you the floor then, Mr. Sportswire, the lawman, Kyle Kennedy. And there anything you want to say directly toward your opponents, Jack Bartley and the Tyrant King, Mitch Taylor, before we get to closing thoughts?
Jack asked, are we ready for the noise? Are we ready for the truckle crew? Are we ready for CCW and the fan base? Quite frankly, I could give less of a damn about any of that. I'm coming to beat the ever-living crap out of a pretend king and a joker of a champion. I'm coming to win the championship, then leave. I'm coming to hurt people and win. Now, whether that's you, your almighty Tyrant King, that I whoop and pin, I'll submit. Or you, champ. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it's inevitable. Whether it's the lawbreaker 1, 2, 3, or the prison gates and one of you bitches taps out. It's inevitable. Just like Mr. Burger King over there and the pretend champion right there. I don't care who I beat. I'll admit, I need this. More than I deserve this. And I'm willing to give everything up, put everything on the line, travel halfway across the country to a disgusting venue and city that this event lies in. I'm ready for everything. So yeah, Jack, I'm ready. King, enjoy your burgers because I'm ready. Because you're going to be really, really sad and depressed. And you're going to need to head to the closest Burger King to snack down on some good old Whoppers. Because you're going to be really sad and depressed once I embarrass you. You too, champ. Because the inevitable fact is this. When the clock strikes midnight and the 29th goes to the 30th, the CCW Underground Heavyweight Championship will be in the hands of Mr. Justice, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the lawman of these parts. Me, Kyle Mother Kennedy.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I would have thought the Tyrant King would have been one of the Village people, but if you wanted to say Burger King, I would have certainly probably agree with you on that. I mean, maybe you sing YMCA, Tyrant King. Well, I don't think you'd be able to sing anything, so I think you'd be totally off tune, and certainly I think the people of the United Kingdom will probably agree with that and some, but let's get to a few more comments before we get out of here. False king, no king to us Brits. You have no idea what you're in for when it comes to the Brits. Yeah, listen, be careful what you wish for, Mr. Tyrant King. You're going there and you're attacking all these people. You might be a king somewhere. You might be a king at a Burger King, a Dairy Queen. You might be more of a queen than a king, but you're going to find that out. Well, listen, you're going to call me Trent Brice, Terry Brice, Tim Brice. I mean, you look like you might need a toupee rather than a crown on your head. But hey, that's just me. The British don't disrespect our king. Never mind the Yank. To right, no one likes the Royals. good luck on Saturday, Mr. Kennedy. Bring home the gold.
I
Burger King,
will.
maybe that's why he's returning to a new Burger King advert. Dustin Hart, who just had his stream on the CCW page, who we're going to bring back on here. Good evening, all. So let me get to closing thoughts. You know, when you're the first person, Tyrant King, I don't even like on Sportswire Radio. So I'm going to make it the first and only time you come on to Sportswire. So I don't care what you do in this match. All I'm going to say is these are your final thoughts on Sportswire Radio. You want to say whatever you want, go ahead, because they're the final words. They're the last words. So I'm going to give you the floor. Anything you want to plug, if you want to plug maybe where you're going to be at the next Village People concert, best of, go do that. If you want to come out and where you're going to be at the next Dairy Queen or Burger King or wherever else you might be, and maybe find a good toupee or two. You might need that as well because I don't think you're going to have a crown coming back to the United States. So I give you the floor. Your final thoughts. Fire away.
You're very funny, Tonto Brice. Very, very funny. If I did want a toupee, I sure wouldn't take those god-awful mutton chops that you have.
I wouldn't give you to him. I wouldn't give it to
need
you.
a toupee because this regal head was too good for hair.
Well, you're a poor man
Jack
Stone
Bartley,
Cold. Listen,
I
you're a
don't
poor
care.
man Stone Cold Steve Austin. Dude, seriously. You're a poor man Stone Cold Steve Austin who says he's from New York but sounds like you're from Bubble, who knows what in Tennessee. Seriously. I'm going to give you the floor, but if you continue to harass me on the stream, I'm going to remove you off the stream. So floor is yours. Make it count. Otherwise, you're going to be counting never come back.
You seem upset, Mr. Brice. And
No,
please
I'm
don't
actually
do
telling
that
it to
in
you
service
straight.
that I would never come back. What a threat. Jack Bartley, I don't care about being deafened by the crowd. Afterwards, I'm going to wish I was blinded by the crowd so I didn't have to look at all the ugly Englanders. Kyle Kennedy, I will see you in the middle of the ring, and you will see me from a lying position. Reverend Brice, it has indeed been your pleasure. I cannot wait for each and every one of you and every citizen of England to kneel before me.
Okay, well, certainly good luck to you this Saturday, and I'm sure we'll spot you at the next Village People tribute show right after you lose on Saturday. So certainly best of luck to you, and you might want to forget the Stone Cold knockoff look because we wouldn't really compare you to Stone Cold or even for that. But good luck to you, though. Good luck to you, though. Mr. Sportswire, I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to give you some closing thoughts. Anything you want to plug, share, say with us. And obviously, I am sure we will have you back on here, regardless of the outcome. A lot to say. So you know the drill. You've done this countless times, and fire away.
CCW Colliery of Souls this coming Saturday on the 29th. CCW will never be the same again. I have worked too damn hard for the past year and a half to let some phony royalist and some Joker cosplay artist pretending to be champion ruin my moment to become champion. I refuse to let any of this moment, any of these people get in my way, whether it's the scum in Jordan, whether it's the scum in this comment section, or minus you, Mr. Brice, because I actually like you, the scum on this video call right now. You are in my way, and prepare for me to knock you down. I will be the next and new and forever, because I ain't ever dropping that thing come this Saturday once I win it. The CCW Underground Heavyweight Champion. So Tyrant King, hop on a plane, get your bubble butt over here, shine your head up real nice, and I can see a few greys in that, so you might want to dye your beard a bit, sunshine. Bartley, put on your best Joker costume and your highest and tallest and ugliest punk rock cap. bring that title to see him to the Dordon Community Center. And Mr. Brice, you can cheer me on all the way over in the States, unbeknownst to whether or not I will be your new Underground Heavyweight Champion. But don't worry, I will not let you down, unlike Royal Man over here, and unlike Pretend Champ over here. These people may not like me in the comments, and I could quite frankly care less. The people are going to be booing me out of the building. And again, I could care less. I'm not here for the people. I'm here for myself. But come hell or high water, the lawman walks out of that disgusting venue and back to Old Blighty, Yorkshire, with the CCW Underground Heavyweight Championship. Thank you again, Mr. Brice. It's been a pleasure. And boys, buckle up. You have no idea what's coming for you.
And you can follow the Lawman Kyle Kennedy on Twitter, the Lawman K Kennedy, Mr. Justice Kyle Kennedy. If you, for what it's worth, would like to follow the Tyrant King Mitchell Taylor, you can also do that on Facebook as well, also YouTube for the Lawman Kyle Kennedy as well. And Jack Bartley, I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some final thoughts. You're our champion, so I certainly bring it over to you last. And anything you want to plug, share, say, and your final thoughts before Saturday night against these two individuals, fire away.
Well, first and foremost, I've noticed that Elf has been in the comments. Elf, Queen of the Elite, thank you for tuning in. I hopefully will see you on Saturday. Don't you worry, you won't have to witness dear Jack losing anything. Now, the lawman mentioned he needs this. Very well. CCW2, Rumble in the Underground. As I mentioned, I won, had the lantern stolen. Very well. I've mentioned the Chuckle Crew. The Chuckle Crew, Jam Dog Mac, Jamie Mac, who's been in the comments, Bonkers Baldwin, myself, Miss Jinx, maybe a surprise, who knows? And of course, Alice, the chief child of the Chuckle Crew, my very own child, had to witness that. The look on her face, seeing my opportunity being stolen, is one that will never be repeated. Ever. I will not allow it. I simply will not allow it. So, gentlemen, do what you will. You will not be taking my championship. This baby is coming home with me. I said when I won this, it was the era of the Chuckle Crew, the era of the underdog, the era of the unappreciated. And that era, that train is full steam ahead. Wheels will not be coming off anytime soon. So come on, gentlemen, take your best shots. I will take them one by one. I will get back up. And when I hit you with the running gag or the ROFL, or maybe even the punchline, 1, 2, 3, and still CCW World Heavyweight Underground Champion and the Clown Chief of the Chuckle Crew, Mr. Jack Bartley Esquire. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you, Mr. Brice. Always appreciated.
Absolutely, and look forward to having you back on soon as well. And let me get to a few more comments before we get out of here. Dustin Hart says, the Underground Brotherhood and CWO will never kneel to you ever. Richard Knight says, was that a dark streak we glimpsed? So that was just calling it straight as it is. So certainly that's what we had here. Taylor Truths obviously has been with us here. Here we are, gentlemen. You will both be introduced to a true champion. The lawman can talk. I do hope he can walk the talk. Well, you'll find out Saturday night. Thank you with you all the way. Kyle Kennedy for CCW champion. Also have here, this guy thinks he's coming to CCW and going to rule it. Think again. You will have your hands full and will leave with your tail between your legs. We have, let's see here. Good evening all from Dustin Hart. All right, so that's it. And Jamie Mack says, I'm going to be ringside for this match. Also, as Jack had mentioned, I might leave a present in the King's Crown. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. The Tyrant King, Burger King, Dairy Queen, Village People, YMCA, fake Stone Cold, whatever you want to say, you probably are in for another thing coming. You have no idea what you're in for. Certainly, I wish you all the best. Mr. Sportswire will certainly find out if you're able to win another title. And Jack Bartley, I'm sure, is going to have a lot to say about all of this here. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight here on Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station, as we were joined here with the Tyrant King, Mitchell Taylor, Mr. Sportswire, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy, and the CCW Underground World Champion Jack Bartley. My name is the Reverend Tom Brice. We'll be back here Wednesday night with fellow society member Callum Ajakster of Nonstop Action Wrestling and Blackheart Wrestling. So we'll get Callum's take on this and much, much more. And again, for more information on Colliery Championship Wrestling, Colliery Championship Wrestling on Facebook, please like and join their group, now over 4,000 members strong. And for more information on how to buy tickets for upcoming shows, that's where you can go. And Saturday night will be the match. You will get to see here Tyrant King Mitchell Taylor, all the way from the United States, Mr. Sportswire Kyle Kennedy, and his debut also for CCW, and Jack Bartley for his championship. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. My name is the Reverend Tom Brice, and also Champ Rogers. Final comment: Kennedy, I may hate your guts, but when it comes down to it, you better go to CCW and win. Well, we'll find that out here. Tune in for more information Saturday and upcoming for CCW shows on Sportswire Radio. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. I'm the Reverend Tom Brice. Have a great night, and we'll speak with you soon on the #1 global radio station that is Sportswire Radio.